Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the Doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you. What?
You held it together. You and I both know what you're thinking right now.
I don't know what you mean.
Listeners like you.
It's literally like brainwashed into me now. like I don't even realize I'm doing it. Like I feel like an agent who's like, as I'm saying it, I'm saying the words that activate me.
Yeah, like Broken Arrow.
Yeah. Like listeners like you. I'm not a... Oh, now I've been activated. All the memories are flooding back.
Oh, no. All the training.
Must kill. Yeah, I'm going to end that sentence.
Just trailed off there.
Yep. We got a review.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's have it.
They just keep coming in. I mean, really, we're just going back to the ones that came in.
Well, yeah. We're giving everyone their due
that's right.
moment.
Yes.
Basically.
Also, because we haven't got any new ones.
Yeah, but
Sons of bitches.
But we're at like 60 or something.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
We're doing pretty well.
We're heading towards 100, and we can only get it with folks like you.
And when we get to 100 reviews, I see how many knuckles I can fit inside Rich.
One for each review.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's so many knuckles.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Well, no, I mean, it's 100 knuckles. So it would be 100 knuckles at that point.
Yeah. No, it's a fist for every review. It's 500 knuckles.
Oh, Jesus.
No, we got a review with... it was it's a review within a review.
Oh, okay.
It's a review within a 5-star review for a Starbucks on Google.
I think it's a Starbucks in Montreal in Atwater.
Yeah. From Sebastian Rowland. Almost like if you reversed it. All the pieces are coming
You
together.
had all the clues.
I could have saved them. They go on to say, Dr. DC, what is there to say? They really are my go-to podcast right now. Even if I have a few I follow. You follow other podcasts?
I thought we were exclusive.
Yeah, I'm feeling betrayed. That's fine.
I thought we had programmed it so when you subscribe to our podcast, it deletes all your other subscriptions.
Oh my god, if I could do that. It's probably not a good tactic. No, it's more of like you subscribe to us and all the other podcasts run away.
Be like, we can't be associated.
Yeah, it works with me in personal relationships. Why not on podcasts? Continue to say, their humor is my kind of cup of coffee. Oh, not a cup of tea. I like that. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what you did there.
I mean, this is a review of a coffee shop. That's also a review of us.
Oh, wow. It works on so many levels.
Wait, did you really just clue in now?
Shut up. And I really love how the DC lore shines through. Yeah, it's more like it's forced to through the cracks in the walls.
Lore!
The deep cut references and the inside jokes from episode 1, maybe like 61, are just too good. I really recommend listening to them with a nice vanilla latte or caramel macchiato. See, now I get it. That's I mean, that one's obvious, but
I love this. I love that there's someone. I don't know who is on the internet being like, I've heard of this Starbucks. Is it any good? I'll read the reviews.
I've heard of this brand Starbucks.
Yeah, but if someone does just go look at this Atwater Starbucks, there's inexplicably a review.
It's just great that someone finally made a coffee shop based off of the hit TV series Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. Could you imagine if the initial pitch was that it was Battlestar Galactica theme? They opened one shop and they were like, I don't think this has traction. They like changed it.
Starbuck is a legend and a hero, and you will respect them.
Or maybe Starbuck just really liked like Alanis Morissette acoustic albums.
Oh no!
Like that, yeah.
Oh yeah. Which is ironic because it's a thing that ended up being sold within Starbucks.
Well, that's why I said it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. No, it's great.
Thank you for the review.
That is wonderful.
Wonderful.
I can't. It's literally just now part of my. I'm slowly becoming the character.
Yeah.
Hey,
but I think my prediction is by the end of Docmas, Richard will be completely subsumed by the Mandarin personality.
Oh, but then another character is starting to fight his way through.
Oh, sniggity.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a crocodile.
I don't appreciate this. Oh, it doesn't matter what you appreciate, no? I think that we should agree on...
Yeah. Just let's make sure it's a video episode when you have this breakdown.
Oh, snickety.
Oh no. Oh no.
It's very challenging.
Challenging for you, but you're so good at this character work.
No, I mean, I know. That's how you know how difficult it really is.
Wow. I didn't think you struggled at all.
Also, there was hashtags in this, which is hashtag J'accuse, hashtag I'm so sorry, hashtag never say die Iron Joker. Oh, that makes me really happy. Hashtag dialogue, hashtag Dr. DC. That's really great. Oh, do hashtags matter in a review on Google?
I kind of like that they're in there.
I kind of want to see, it's like suddenly there's like a bunch of like never say die Iron Joker.
Yeah, I would be concerned about who is using the hashtag never say die Iron Joker if they aren't listening to our podcast.
I feel like there's a weird nexus that we fell into. And
yeah, we're on a watch list.
Well, and that's true anyways. Let's go to the news. Speaking of triple things that I Google, Superman is going public.
He is.
For the first time since he was created.
Well, yeah. I mean, yes. Superman is about to reveal
He's coming out.
He's about to reveal his secret identity.
It's that he's always angry.
People, yeah. I'm always wearing glasses. Again, I did the full action.
Yeah, I know. I love that you do that. It's for me, but it helps sell a bit.
Yeah. Well, because I need you to laugh or I'll feel bad. So I have to go full out for you.
Yeah. Why do you think I laugh regardless?
Oh.
Yeah. So he's revealing his identity.
Yeah. I mean, people that read comics know that this is not the first time Superman's secret identity has been revealed. And all the previous times have been sort of erased, forgotten. The last time was like 2015. Lois wrote like a headline article that Clark was Superman.
Wow, she dragged him.
But that was the New 52 Superman. It was the New 52 Lois. It was a different era.
Different time.
Different times. This one promises to be bigger and, as permanent as anything in comics can be.
Wow.
Like...
At least for the next 5 years.
That's not to say it will last forever, but I think they want this to reverberate. And Bendis has talked about how the bombshell that Clark Kent is Superman is actually going to cause some people to switch alliances.
Whoa.
Some old adversaries will now have a change of heart about him.
You mean he's got journalistic integrity as well? I'm on his side. I thought he was just a muscle-bound man, but he's actually a nerd. Well, I'm up for it.
Well, exactly. But it might also do the opposite for some people that are friends who now might, see him as having maybe cheated the system or whatever, or things like that.
Excuse me, a white male American cheated the system?
I mean, is it really cheating when
it's built for you?
Yeah. It's like it's the success he's entitled to.
Well, that's true, yeah. He's earned by being born.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the promise of this is that it should affect things going forward, actually change villain perspectives, change relationships with other heroes. There might be heroes that I'd
love to see Batman and him interact. That would be really funny.
Well, this also comes out of a thing that's happened recently in Action Comics and in sort of all this Leviathan stuff, is that someone managed to take a picture of Lois Lane kissing Superman, but she is known publicly to be married to Clark Kent. So it started this whole tabloid thing about her.
Oh my God.
Basically cheating on Clark Kent with Superman, and then she's getting like dragged through the mud for being like
a hussy.
Yeah, and shit like that.
You mean living her best life?
And so Superman,
her body, her choice.
So Superman is very rightfully thinking like, who is this secret identity for anymore? Like,
Yeah.
who is it helping?
Yeah.
And
It's not like it's ever stopped anybody from going after Lois Lane.
that, his son is going off to the future with the Legion of Superheroes and also has superpowers. He's fine.
It's going to be really cute when you get that scene of him dropping him off at the future and, the single tear down his eyes.
Yeah,
you can still
wiping stuff off his cheek. He's like, Dad, no, let me go to the future.
Yeah, no, and he's just like, you can come back to the
It's your
present
first day of the
anytime
future. Don't only eat ramen here in the future. Don't only eat future ramen.
No means no.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I mean, what happens in the future.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be only having that talk as you're dropping them off. They should know it by then.
I know. I'm just saying that there's a huge issue, especially when he's joining the future squash team.
Oh, no.
Or what does it know with the lacrosse? Yeah, the future lacrosse team.
Oh, those guys are assholes.
Hey, it's a sport of the future.
Those fucking lax bros. Sorry, lax bros listening to this. You aren't listening to this.
Oh my God, if you are, please let us know what the cross-section of
I would be interested in what that Venn diagram is.
Yeah.
All of that to say, though, Superman is basically confronting whether or not his secret identity actually helps anyone or if it's actually hurting, which is a discussion we've had before about whether or not secret identities in general are any good.
Yeah, and we both had very different opinions, and
but
I don't remember what they are.
I think some, heroes will not like that he's going public, and some will. And yeah, I'm excited to see sort of how all of the tangential characters kind of are affected by it.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. It'll be fun to read and see what the ramifications in unassuming other comics are.
Oh yeah, I mean, because it's content. This isn't like its own little story. It's going to ripple outward. Yeah.
Your coughings make me cough now, and it's getting in my brain.
Well, it's because we Frenched for 30 minutes before we started recording.
Yeah, but that's generally how we start. How other podcasts start. I don't understand.
Oh yeah, that's how Doughboys starts.
Yeah. What? They hate fuck.
Oh no.
Joker beats Deadpool to become the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
That is correct.
Which is insane, and we still have not seen it.
Yeah. I mean, partly because it's just difficult for us to find the time.
Yeah.
And it's also no longer playing in Whitehorse.
I thought it was.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because I thought
I thought it was done.
I thought I saw somebody go to see it on Friday.
Oh, I thought it was done. Well, then maybe there's still a shot for us.
Because just because it's not on the posters doesn't mean that it's not actually playing there. I learned.
What?
Yeah. I know.
It's fucking cinema, man.
They only have 2 spots for posters, but they can play more movies than 2 spots. So sometimes it's playing and you don't realize it.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, yes. I mean, we still haven't seen it, which is kind of outrageous.
Oh no, now it's not showing anymore. Friday was the last date. That's why.
Oh, okay. We will see it eventually. I'm not intentionally avoiding it, but I do think it's maybe slightly telling that I haven't made it a priority. But yeah, I mean, people seem to be liking it. It's been super popular, and considering that it was made on such a low budget, I think I read something else too that it's in terms of profit, it's expected to basically match Infinity War.
Really?
Because they made it for so little money, and it's making so much. That it's yeah, Infinity War made a lot of money, but they also spent a ton of money on it. This one is almost all profit.
Wow.
So,
well, that's exciting.
I mean, what I will say is, we already know we're getting Birds of Prey and stuff like that, but at the very least, what I will say is it might be an indicator that Warner Brothers might lean into more of these slightly lower budget, R-rated, or at least more mature kind of superhero movies that are not necessarily devoid of powers or even comic books like Joker is, but just something doesn't have to be all big spectacle like Aquaman or something like that. I mean, even Shazam had a lower budget, right?
Yeah.
And did pretty well.
I think they're realizing that when they put the money
I think this is maybe where you'll see a number of those things go. There's exceptions. Aquaman's always going to be big, I think. Wonder Woman, I think, is always going to be relatively big.
Yeah.
You're going to have a couple of those big tentpole things, but some of these other ones that are out there, I think you'll see them maybe scale production down a little bit, make them a little more character focused, and then try to maximize their profit on them.
Well, especially going sort of director focused as well, like directors with a specific vision, rather than trying to sort of pigeonhole them into one sort of idea, or
which they're already doing. So
well, I feel like this is just further proof that that sort of Marvel model doesn't work for them, and what they need to do is something that's more sort of insular and sort of focusing in on like that one character sort of ideology, and
it's not about being gritty or even realistic. It's just about paring things down a bit. You know, like we watched that Birds of Prey trailer. There's nothing realistic about that movie, right? No. Other than the fact that it takes place in a world with cars and buildings and people. Like it's and it's got color and it's got character. Like you could tell from that trailer there's other things going on. It's not about being dour, but I think it is about being just sort of stripping some of the extra stuff away so that we can actually enjoy the characters.
Yeah. So, and also, I really enjoyed Ryan Reynolds' response to this.
Oh yeah. He took the poster with the Joker stairs in it.
Yeah,
and he basically put like in ascending order all of the previous highest grossing R-rated movies or characters.
Yeah.
Like Neo is in there, and Deadpool was up there, and then up at the top he wrote "You motherfucker."
Yeah, which is great. Which
is very funny.
Yeah, it was a really good sort of like we don't have to like it doesn't have to be so like aggressive and against one another. And Marvel and DC doesn't have to be so aggressive.
After I saw that, someone online very I think wisely mentioned like, how many Joker references do we think is going to be in Deadpool 3?
Oh my god, that's really funny.
I guarantee you, there's a stair dance.
Oh yeah, how could you not? Yeah,
have you seen all those pictures of people like basically gentrifying those stairs? Like, it's just a bunch of people showing up to take pictures or take videos of them dancing on the stupid stairs in the Bronx.
I know New York Times like wrote some shitty article about it.
I mean, listen, people are excited. They're not hurting anyone. They're just dancing on stairs. Let them have fun. But it's also like, I can imagine people in the neighborhood being like, you don't give a shit about us until you could take an Instagram photo on these stairs. Yeah. Get out of my neighborhood. I'm trying to go to work.
Yeah, I mean, there is that too. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm stoked about it. And one day we will see it and we'll talk about it. But we haven't done that yet.
No, we have not.
Because of you fuckers, we can't do this permanently. So we've got other jobs we've got to go to.
Yeah, subscribe to our Patreon.
You son of a bitch.
We only need several thousand of you to subscribe, and then we can quit our job.
Yeah. Is that so much to ask for?
Yeah.
Just as many people have downloaded all of our episodes to subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah.
And then we're fine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Next piece of news. Brandon Routh says farewell to the Legends of Tomorrow.
Well, we knew he was leaving.
Yeah.
But he's officially wrapped all his filming for Legends.
There's been a lot of like fun farewell goodbyes to each other.
Yeah. And, I think it's not one of those things where he had another project lined up. I think he's just been written out, which might be tied to Crisis, might not. But, I think there's maybe some people are like, why would you write about he doesn't want to leave? But it's like, shows are allowed to do that. And
it makes a show good if people can be cut out of it, because then you're surprised by what happens each week.
And if it's not that he wanted to leave and they had to find a way to do it, then you have to at least kind of trust that there's a story reason to get rid of a series regular. Yeah. Time will tell whether or not it's good enough or stuff like that. But it means that they want to do something with the story. They realize there was an obstacle to it and they're going for it anyway. Like, I kind of prefer that to having like 8 seasons where like nothing can ever change. Like, here's a magic spine fixer, Felicity.
It's a spine dampener.
It's a spine injury dampener.
Yeah.
Cisco whipped this up for you. It's a spinal injury dampener. Oh, that's really funny.
Or maybe maybe a bunch of metahumans are getting out of control in the future and he needs to solve that.
I did like that there's in one of the early episodes of The Flash this season, early episodes were only like a few in, but in one of the first ones, when they're talking about the Crisis and Barry talks about the antimatter, and then Iris is like, can we make an antimatter dampener?
I like that they're just like, you fucking idiot. What do you...
We've never done that. I just love that even the show was like, well, dampen it.
Yeah, that's how we solve problems, right? Like, that must just be like a thing in the office that they like...
That must be a running joke.
Or it's just like a sign on the wall, but it's like... Can we?
Yeah, which dampeners have we built yet?
Yeah. Or just says, like, dampen on the wall. We got a new secretary.
Oh, no.
Oh,
jeez. Why?
They're terrible people. I don't know.
The Flash Writers room? You're going to throw all of them under the bus with this weird allegation that you just conjured?
Yeah, because that's the world we live in now. I could just say things and
fake news.
It's right.
You're going to be quoted on Breitbart later.
I fucking hope so. Give us that.
No.
Give us that bump we need.
Oh yeah, I'd love that bump. Jesus.
That's what they said in the room. It's terrible. DC reveals female Batman Beyond.
This is not a series that I'm currently reading, but yes, there seems to be a new Batwoman in the future, in that future of Batman Beyond. I'm not sure who it is, though.
No, I actually don't know.
Does it say?
I can tell you in a second, but
what's funny is that the Batman Beyond suit design is so close, at least in color scheme, to what Batwoman has adopted, right? Black outline, red bat, it's sort of, it's kind of like a little perfect transition there. And this Batwoman also has her hair out, a la present day Batwoman, or it could be fake hair, but there's hair out of her costume. But yeah, I'm not sure who it is because, like I said, this isn't a series I'm currently reading.
I don't know if it says. It says the new Batwoman made her first appearance known at the end of the at the previous issue, as we saw a mysterious female figure infiltrate the Batcave to retrieve Terry's Batman suit. In the latest chapter of Batman Beyond, the mysterious female character takes to the streets as Batwoman, though most of the issue is dedicated to scenes of violent crimes in progress, the Batwoman showing up to thwart them as a sort of shadowy blur. Reporter Jack Ryder chases down rumors, ultimately stumbles upon the shocking scoop that when a camera drone finally catches sight of the vigilante everyone claims is Batman. Biggest question now is who is Beyond, right. Batwoman Beyond? I
mean, there's so many possibilities, and Batman Beyond is always one of those ones where it's like, is it someone from the past? You know what I mean? More than anything else, right? I think in one of those earlier ones, it
says both
Hush Beyond was Dick Grayson or something. That might have been from the animated universe comic series, but they always do this thing where is it someone from the past, or it's someone from the past but not who you thought it was? There's so many options.
Oh, so Bruce Wayne and Terry's little brother try to speculate on who it is. Both Bruce and Matt are sure that they know who is in the suit and attempt to blurt out the answer to one another. Only problem is that Bruce says Barbara Gordon, while Matt says Melanie Walker, aka 10 from the Royal Flush Gang.
Oh, okay.
So it seems like the two.
I'm willing to bet it's neither.
Well, yeah, if they're going to say that, then it's probably neither, right? Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
I like it. I'm on for it. We haven't had a female bat character in Batman Beyond yet, right? So,
ooh, yeah, I suppose not. Actually, yeah.
So it's nice to bring some female talent to this to the Hero Squad.
That's right.
All right. Last piece of news: Wonder Woman, 1984. Director confirms Maxwell Lord.
Yeah, I mean, this has been out and about on Twitter lately.
Sorry, Oot and Aboot, you mean?
Oot and Aboot on Twitter lately. That it's been announced or something. But I feel like we've known this a long time, right? That Pedro Pascal is playing Maxwell Lord.
I don't know.
I feel like I've known this for a year.
Unless it's just been in the zeitgeist and we didn't.
Unless it was just a thing where it was all speculation and now it is confirmed and I just assumed it was confirmed or something.
I mean, that happens to us a lot.
That does, but yeah, it was one of those things where I saw it and everyone was like, I saw all these articles about who is Maxwell? All these clickbaity things once it comes out, and I was like, where was this a year ago? Shouldn't we already have done this?
Well, and I have such a bad memory that I'm just new information.
So I think it might be one of those things where I just assumed because it was the most obvious assumption, and it was, and now it's confirmed. But yeah, Pedro Pascal is playing Maxwell Lord. Maxwell Lord was the administrator of the Justice League in the 80s and 90s, who was sort of more kind of a business.
Excuse me?
Oh my God. It has been so long Where the hell have you been, Todd?
So you know when there's a big wind and then you've got a bunch of papers on the ground and then the wind takes it and then you keep trying to grab the paper?
Yeah.
So like that.
Right. I mean, I seem to recall that you had been in the process of trying to wax documents into the floor, as you do.
Well, yeah, so you can see them.
So they were all stuck together. So when the wind picked up, it was sort of like a giant paper parachute that carried you away. But that was like a year ago.
It took me. I don't weigh very much. It took me a long time.
You are kind of like paper.
Have you seen the movie It Follows?
Yeah. What does that have to do with this?
No matter how far you take me away, I'm always coming back.
Oh my God. Well, it was nice while it lasted. Welcome back, Todd.
Yes. I don't know who this Pedro Pascal character is, and I don't know who Maxwell Lord is because it's always been me. I am the administrator.
Yes,
for the Justice League.
Yeah, of course you are.
Executive administrator.
Oh wow, is that a promotion or did you just add that? Oh, I see. You've handwritten it onto your business card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
E's go that right way, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you scratched out the word janitor and written executive administrator.
I think that I think they were trying to say that in a different language, like Kryptonian. I just wanted to.
So you thought that a word that you could read was just written in glyphs, and that you could just write something else.
Are you telling me that Kryptonian isn't a romance language?
No, they do not have a shared history with the Roman Empire. If you could believe that.
I've got some phone calls to make. Goodbye.
So, Maxwell Lord. Maxwell Lord in the comics sort of ran the Justice League, but like not well. And it was the era of like that Bwaha Justice League and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He always kind of butted heads with someone like Batman, who was actually kind of serious in that. He was
Batman?
Batman? Maxwell
Bruce
Lord
Wayne?
was more about like the marketing, like the image of the Justice
I like this guy.
stuff like that. Well, I know. Yeah.
This is my kind of guy.
But then he turned out to be like one of the villains of Infinite Crisis. He killed Ted Cord, Blue Beetle. He shot him in the
that's
head.
right. Yes, I do know.
He has mind control powers. He mind controlled Superman, and very iconically in Infinite Crisis, Wonder Woman goes to stop him, puts the lasso of truth around him, says, "How do I stop you?" And he says, "You can't," and she snaps his neck.
Ooh.
And it gets broadcast on live TV, and the world sees her basically kill an unarmed man. And
yikes.
Yeah. So if you're putting Maxwell Lord in a Wonder Woman movie, you're at the very least teasing the idea that she kills him. You know, they might subvert it. They might do something different with it because the movie's its own thing. We're doing something different. But
they're announcing
it's a deliberate it's a deliberate choice out of all of Wonder Woman's own adversaries to put Maxwell Lord in a Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah,
does something very specific.
Well, especially considering like the amazing villains that she already has.
Well, but I mean, at least, you know, we haven't seen Giganta, Dr. Psycho, Silver Swan,
Egg Foo,
you know,
Paul, Paper Master.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Paper Master. Oh, let's not promote him.
Yeah,
just Paper Man.
Paper Man, Daddy.
But we know that Steve Trevor is in this movie. I'm willing to bet that's
people can't see your quotations, right?
Oh yeah, Steve Trevor is in this movie. I'm willing to bet that's like a mind manipulation of Maxwell Lord.
Yeah,
Steve Trevor pretty conclusively blew
died,
up.
Yeah, I mean, we never saw his body.
Oh, we did, but just many scenes earlier when he got out of that hot tub.
Oh, we saw his body. All right. If you want to hear more about us ogling Chris Pine, just go to our Patreon and subscribe.
Yeah, it gets pretty hot.
Yeah, I'd say. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting. I wonder if like how far they'll go with it in this movie. Because he's not the villain of this movie. Like at least not the main.
Well. He's in there. Cheetah's in there. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that Maxwell Lord is maybe pulling the strings.
Oh, he maybe is the
manipulating
main?
Cheetah or something
like a villain. We find out is in charge at the end of it.
Yeah. I mean, again,
teases a neck the next movie.
They're teasing that she snaps his neck. I'm relatively confident they don't out and out do that because it seems too obvious, and I don't think Patty's like that.
No.
I mean, they might, and it's fine and satisfying, but I feel like it's in there more just to get us, like, comic people being like, "Oh, he's gonna the neck." Like,
it's true,
you know.
Yeah, which would be interesting. And I mean, for a third Wonder Woman movie, you'd need something that kind of like flips the script and makes people go against her. Because right now, I don't think that'll be the case.
Well, but she's also still meant to be like not public.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
So it can't be out and out that she snaps his neck and it gets broadcast because the world doesn't even know about Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
In Batman v Superman.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Unless they're just saying, forget Batman v Superman. We're changing it up, which is possible too.
In DC? Oh, that's exciting. Well, we should probably get to this week's theme.
Let's do it. So it's the last week of Doctober. That's the wrong Todd. That's the wrong cue.
Oh, sorry. Doctober.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
Okay, can you put the soundboard away now, Todd?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you want me to bring the soundboard back out?
No. Oh my God, no!
Oh.
I'm getting really horrifying flashbacks to early episodes.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Me so sorry.
Just mashing all the buttons. Since I'm thinking about it, what was that old soundboard clip you always used to play? It was like, a potato.
A potato I threw around the room before you came into.
Every once in a while, if someone says the word potato, I still think about that.
Potato.
A potato.
I like turtles.
Oh my God, yeah. Yes, it's the last week of Doctober. We've been doing dystopian futures all month. Wanted to end with one that's, I mean, technically now an alternate Earth, but at one point was just an elseworlds. Could have possibly been an alternate future, somewhere in hyper time. But we're talking about Kingdom Come, the iconic Mark Waid, Alex Ross story.
Hell yeah.
This, like I said, now this is Earth 22 of the multiverse. It's its own alternate Earth. But for a time, it was just an Elseworlds tale. Could possibly have just been out in the hypertime ether of possible futures. You actually read this one.
I did read it. I read it because I thought it was a book that I had to read. And
well, it's also a book you own. So of all of the things to read, this one would make sense.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I guess it's not an official reading assignment, but I have it. And I was like, I should probably read it. And it was a great deal when I bought it. So I figured.
Yeah, well, fuck you. Well, since you did read it, do you want to give sort of the synopsis of it? Take us through what is this world? What is this future? What is Kingdom Come about?
Yeah, well, I'll give you sort of the 10,000 foot view of this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Which is roughly that. One of the things I loved was the intro to this book was a really great way to sort of like help you understand sort of what they were trying to capture with this sort of narrative.
Yeah.
What's it called? Is it the intro? What's the little pre-written? The introduction by Elliot S. Megan.
Yeah, is this like it's
like a forward essentially.
Yeah.
What's nice is that they talk about sort of like where like the current age that we're living in could be considered by people 100 years ago for us to be superheroes. Like he's saying that essentially we are modern day superheroes,
right? And
that looking back, like if we brought our technology to people for 100 years ago, they would think that we had magic powers with cars and lights and electricity and and like cell phones and smartphones and things like that. It seemed like magicians, right?
That's like the Arthur Conan Doyle thing, right? And he sufficiently advanced technology appears as magic.
Yeah. Essentially, there is no magic; it's just science that we haven't understood yet. So, what I like about that is it basically just sets it up that we're going into the future where things are going to look different, but maybe they're just different because you're not from the future.
Yeah.
And so that's essentially what they did with this book. You get sort of at the very beginning of it, we see the death of Sandman.
Wesley Dodds.
Yeah.
One of the original Sandman.
One of the things I really love too is that each chapter it's set up as if it was like biblical text that you're reading from. Like each chapter starts with like darkness, and then there was blank and blank and blank.
Yeah.
So the first page is always black, and then you go into the sort of biblical text. But it's essentially that, a Sandman dies, and then the Spectre shows up, and needs to figure out why the world's going to end, but has to be able to tie to somebody that can show him the future.
Yeah, the Spectre in this, he's, it's that thing we keep coming back to, drifted from humanity, right?
Yeah.
So he hooks up with this guy, Norman McCoy, who was the pastor, so that's sort of attending Wesley Dodds' death.
Yes. And so Wesley Dodd passes on the Sandman to his essence. I don't know what.
Well, he has sort of visions of this apocalyptic future, and then when he dies, he basically passes his visions to this pastor.
Yeah, and
so the Spectre's like, you seem like you would be helpful in this.
Yeah, knowing that that he's got these ability, and he basically says like, I've tied myself to the future, I have to tie myself to a human so that I can witness the future.
Yeah,
and then what you slowly figure out is actually that this guy's Sandman, and that he sort of tricked him into it, and he's actually the one who's taking him through this journey.
Yeah.
So now they get to see sort of what is this Armageddon that they're referring to. I love the first vision of this future because I love that they return to it at the end of the book as the sort of like Planet Hollywood for superheroes that you go to.
Yeah.
So funny. What is the year this is kind of referring to? Like how far in the future is it supposed to be?
Well, so the setup is that we are 10 years after Superman basically kind of retires. Sort of like withdraws, goes into sort of self-imposed exile.
Yeah. Okay.
But at that 10 years ago, Mark, we were already seeing a sort of new generation of heroes. The generation that this book describes as sort of violent, brutal, exacting the kind of like revenge version of justice that people claim to want.
Yes.
Yeah. But is actually kind of terrifying.
Yes, exactly. So I love the Planet Krypton restaurant. It's so funny.
Yeah.
To have all of these, like, what I love too is that there's a guy in like a Green Lantern costume.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm, what do you call him? Arrow.
Yeah. Well, did you catch in there who owns and runs Planet Krypton?
Oh, I didn't. No.
Yeah, it's Booster Gold.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it is. But yes, it's basically all of the waitresses and waiters dress up as superheroes, and it's basically,
it's very schlocky.
It's super, super schlocky, and you're sort of in a future where you get presented it into a future where there's way more people with powers now. The sort of superhuman, like the meta gene or whatever, has transferred to way more people, and now you're in a sort of in a world where instead of having like a limited amount of people with abilities, and some of them decided to go to good and some of them decided to go bad, kind of like a huger part of the population has them, and so it's a lot more muddled. Because it's a lot more gray now.
Well, and what this book basically purports is that they're no longer stopping muggings or things like that. They're basically only fighting each other. They're fighting just for the sake of fighting
because they have all these abilities,
and people are collateral damage now. Like it's sort of totally removed, which is a commentary on comics in general.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before, but that's sort of the world we're living in. Like the old guard, sort of Justice League, are kind of gone, and these new, some of them are children of heroes. They say heroes and villains. Some of them are just new. Some of them are cybernetic. Some of them have powers. But they're basically all just fighting each other. They just live in a world where, like, they are like natural disasters, basically. Superhuman fights are like tornadoes.
Yeah, and they can just come out of nowhere, and everybody is fighting.
Exactly.
Everybody. And so what you realize is that the only one and also the one who doesn't really age is Wonder Woman, who's sort of secluded herself in Themyscira and is kind of turning a blind eye to everything that's been happening, but is kind of fed up with it at this point.
She's not in Themyscira.
Oh, she wasn't?
Because she's been kicked out.
Well, that's right, yeah. But she was there and then had gotten kicked out, basically. I think this is probably pretty recently then, because it seems like now she's trying to deal with like the fact that she hasn't fixed the problems of Earth.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Like she hasn't made Earth a better place, and so you find out later in the book that she had been basically like taken all of her royalties, like ripped away.
Yeah, the Amazons have said you've clearly failed to spread like peace.
Yeah,
you are no longer deemed an Amazon kind of thing.
Exactly. So she now needs to figure out what, like, to fix this problem. So she goes to the one person she thinks that can lead everyone.
Does that happen before the incident? Does she go to Superman before the incident? Or after?
I can't remember. What do you mean by the incident?
So there's an incident where this sort of new breed of heroes are all fighting. They're fighting the Parasite, an old Superman villain, and he just wants to give up. Like, he's just like, take me in. Like, I don't want to fight. And they are assaulting him and harassing him and fighting with him. And he doesn't want it. And in desperation, he sort of claws out and he rips Captain Atom open, and it makes a nuclear detonation that basically wipes out the Midwest.
Yeah, all of the Kansas, essentially.
Yeah.
Yes. And so then Wonder Woman goes to see him, and it's interesting because they're like, because now they're going, Spectre is and this new Sandman are going to an area that looks like the Midwest.
They're sort of like Ghost of Christmas presenting this story. They're like kind of there, but not really.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because they're like, this looks like the Midwestern farmland, but that's not possible. So it must be right? It's after, and it's Clark Kent. The only thing I don't like is that ponytail. It's very sort of this era, I think.
Yeah, it is. He's got an old man pony.
Which I'm just like, Superman wouldn't have a ponytail.
I mean, you would hope.
But, God, he is just... I love Alex Ross's Clark Kent.
But Superman had longer hair in the early 90s, too.
Well, yeah, because it's the early 90s.
So, you know...
I love Alex Ross's sort of look of Superman. Like it's that like sort of like it looks like a farm, like a meat, like brick shit house farm boy. Yeah.
Oh, he looks like meat.
Yeah. It's just a pile of man meat. And like just overalls and the no shirt.
Yeah, and he's like up on the roof or something.
Yeah,
holding a tractor.
And it's funny because he's just like who is this guy? Couldn't be like anybody special, and then he lifts up a tractor. And so basically, you realize they're actually not in a farm; they're in like this sort of like facility.
Well, it's kind of. I think it's meant to be the fortress.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's like a holodeck kind of thing.
And he just wants to be on a farmland. So, because you're just like, how could he be somewhere where like it looks like a farm, but it's not? It's because it's like a holodeck, essentially. Yes. So, and Wonder Woman's basically going like, shit's gotten out of control. Like, you need to come back. Like, I realized that like, because you probably age differently and that shit probably happened, and now Lois is dead apparently, and so are his parents dead, and he just kind of doesn't have the will to fight anymore.
Yeah.
And so he's basically retired, and she's just like, things have gotten so bad, you need to come back. And he's just like, yeah, I don't really care. Like, it's not anything I'm interested in. So she just leaves. And you think, well, I guess Superman's not getting involved. But yeah, so basically, after that, then we get to, I'm assuming that he sees sort of what had happened to the Midwest. Maybe that's what sort of changes his mind. And decides that he is going to help. I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail. We get sort of, we get to see a vision of what sort of other superheroes are dealing with in their areas. Batman's now like old guy in this sort of like mech suit thing.
Well, yeah, he's sort of got this sort of robotic brace.
Yeah.
Because clearly his body is sort of broken down, and he's much older. And he has like robot Batmen that he controls that go out and keep Gotham in order. We see the Flash.
Yes.
Who's almost become like one with the Speed Force.
It's just constantly running.
He
now.
Never stops, basically.
It's just like constantly just passing through like this in the Speed Force. It's really interesting. You get to see sort of, we see Aquaman and Atlantis.
Right.
And basically King Arthur doesn't want to help, because he's just like you know that like I control like 70% of the entire planet, right?
He's like, I got a lot on my plate.
He's like, I gave you guys like above the water, like deal with it yourself.
Yeah.
Which is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
He's like, I've got a lot going on down here.
Yeah, we see Alan Scott, Green Lantern. He's made himself like a space station out of will that he or out of the green flame or whatever you want to call it. but he calls it New Oa. And the book basically says that for the last 10 years, he's been waiting for like an alien invasion that's never come.
Yeah, exactly. He's just waiting for something to come that will have to do with him. And it just, I mean, also, why would any alien come down? And it's like everybody's got superpowers. It's just not worth your time. Right?
Well, yes, that's, I think, a fair point to make. But the broad version of this is that eventually some of these heroes, the old guard, they do come back. They decide, we're going to clean this world up. New generation, you either get in line or you get hurt, basically.
Exactly.
It's
so
sort of the ultimatum that they make.
Well, what they actually decide to do is like, okay, we're going to take control, and you either like become part of the Justice League, which means following the way that the Justice League does things. Yeah. Just like being polite and like
not killing.
Yeah, exactly. And or we'll throw you in jail.
Yeah.
Because Superman develops a prison.
Gulag is what they call it, yeah.
That basically will just, everybody who doesn't get along, like, just throw them in a prison.
Yeah, the idea is that this Gulag is in this irradiated Kansas. And you sort of learn that he built it without telling anybody.
Yeah.
But the idea is re-education.
Mm-hmm.
That like we're gonna put all these people that disagree with us in here until they agree with us,
which is I mean, seemingly not a great idea.
I will say it's not 100% like dystopian. Like he's not like, we're gonna cut your brain out. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's so un-Superman, right?
Superman is still relatively true to character in here, but he has lost his way.
Honestly, so has Wonder Woman. Like both,
very much.
Like the two of them, it's definitely not the like Superman and Wonder Woman you're used to.
No.
They've definitely like become disillusioned and have sort of lost the connection they have to doing well, which is Wonder Woman no longer really has her royalty or Themyscira, and Superman doesn't have Lois Lane and his parents. Like, there's just no connection to humanity for them any longer, or like purpose.
Well, Alan Scott's been on his own space station for 10 years. The Flash doesn't live a life anymore.
Yeah.
They're all disconnected from
their purpose, right?
Like from what it means to be a hero. So they think they're acting, I mean, they are acting well intentioned, but their actions are not as good as they could be.
There's a ton of awesome sort of like little bits of other characters. We don't really like, they just throw in everybody in this. This is a lot of stuff to follow, but essentially they just decided like it's our way or the highway, which is not really the best way. And Bruce decides that he doesn't really want to fall in line with this. So
of course he does.
Well, yeah, of course.
Bruce.
So then we get, he basically says like, I've got another group of like humans that I'm dealing with. So I'm going to work with them.
Yeah.
But you don't realize who that is it's Lex Luthor. It's Ollie, it's Riddler, it's
Vandal Savage,
Catwoman,
Catwoman, yeah.
It's basically all of these people who don't have abilities, but are fighting for whatever cause they thought was right.
It's a little bit of a Legion of Doom.
A bit, yeah, for sure.
And you'll notice that the design of the Gulag looks a little bit like the Hall of Doom. It's that sort of dome, kind of things. But yeah, I mean, so you know, in the sort of like you said, the 10,000 foot view, basically these returned Justice League start kind of cleaning things up a bit, but then start meeting real resistance from people that don't want to make this change or don't want to whatever, and it starts coming to light that like it's really making human governments nervous that they're no longer kind of in control of what's happening.
Yeah.
Luthor, the reason Bruce is in there with Luthor and that is that they're like, we don't really like we humans should have human destiny in their hands kind of idea.
Totally.
I mean, Bruce has always got a few other things going, but that's essentially like what's happening there. So Luthor's got he says, I got a plan. We're going to take down the Justice League. We're going to claim our destiny. The human governments are like, we need to be ready to like maybe fight the superhumans.
Yeah, so we need to figure out what we're going to do. Yeah, basically, one group's putting everybody in prison. The other group wants to stop that prison from existing, and the other group wants to just stop all the superheroes from fighting.
Yeah.
So we're presented with a pretty crazy thing that could very easily turn into an Armageddon.
Yep.
It seems pretty...
Luthor's got a secret weapon, which is a basically like brainwashed, kind of hypnotized, mind-controlled Billy Batson.
Which we don't find out till the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, because the whole time you're just like, whoa, where's Shazam? You're seeing so many people, right? And who could defend against Superman even if you wanted to? Well, that's the thing. I like that we also have to stop him with Orion.
Yeah. Superman goes to try to, I think, recruit or something like that. Or he stops in on Apocalypse, but Darkseid is long dead. Orion has taken up control of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
This is an interesting exchange, too, because basically Orion says, I thought we get rid of Darkseid, give the people their freedom. And he said, freedom is tyranny to them. They're so used to being ruled that, like, they immediately elected, like, made me their new Darkseid.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean... It's cynical and not 100% true, but there are instances in human history of that being true as well.
Yeah.
Like when the French were still sorting out like the revolution, and like their second republic ended when they elected a Napoleon for president and a bunch of people that wanted the monarchy for their parliament. So everyone that got elected didn't want democracy.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
So yeah, we check in there. Again, broad view. Should we just go straight to what sort of the big
absolutely
thing is?
Yeah. So we find out that things aren't going as peachy as you might think they would in a place called the Gulag, with a bunch of people with superpowers and are both good and bad.
Yep.
So they are breaking out and basically like a huge riot.
They kill a warden who's a sort of Silver Agey character called Captain Comet.
Yeah.
They kill him. They're rioting in the Gulag.
Yeah. And so you know that they're going to break out, which now not only were they bad before, but now you've imprisoned them and put them in a position where they are now not wanted and are pissed and are now more angry at each other than they've ever been. So you've basically set up the worst possible scenario.
Yeah.
And so the new Justice League decides they're going to go and try to stop this from happening.
Well, and Wonder Woman basically says, like, we've been pussyfooting around. We're going to put them down.
Yes. Exactly. So they go to deal with that. The sort of new Legion of Doom people decide that they are going to also have to deal with this. But that's when we find out that Billy Batson has been actually there the whole time. And Bruce sort of figures it out.
And Luthor's plan is to use Captain Marvel to break the Gulag open.
What you find out is that obviously Billy got older and now just looks like Shazam.
Yeah, the whole time you sort of think he is Captain Marvel. He's like waiting on Luthor and stuff, but you realize he's just
brainwashed Billy Batson.
He's an adult Billy, like fully adult. He's not actually Captain Marvel in that moment.
Yeah, and he's basically been brainwashed so badly that like he's not Billy anymore.
Yeah,
he's no more of that sort of childhood innocence or any of that. He's just a brainwashed adult.
Yeah.
So they basically kind of remind him that's who he is, and he turns into Shazam, or Captain Marvel, which is scary.
Yeah, extremely. Because he's the one person that can go toe-to-toe with Superman.
But is also like sort of now is this brainwashed sort of guy with superpowers.
Kind of unhinged. We get a reveal that Bruce, earlier, Bruce says something to Luthor like, don't double cross me or something like that. And Luthor's like, oh, well, and then we get this reveal that Bruce is like, actually, he just needed info on what this sort of Legion was working on.
Yes.
Or what they have a different name. I keep calling them the Legion. They have like Mankind Liberation Front,
but we know what
like
that is. Yeah.
And then Luthor's like, you double crossed me.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's a really good little moment.
You're also just like,
Yeah, but
you brainwashed Billy Batson. Like, it's not like you're...
Yeah, he's the victim.
Yeah. Exactly. And then we find out that the government's decided that this is all happening. Time to just shut it all down.
Yeah, they're basically they have a nuke that is shielded from metahuman powers.
Yes.
So it can't be like disabled in the air or anything like that. And they fire it at Kansas.
Yes. And they're just like, we'll just take out North America.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Like, because the amount of destruction that would happen if this happened would be worse than just losing one country.
Clark realizes how out of control stuff is. And tries to go to Bruce for help again and said, like, you need to help me stop this. And we keep cutting to the Spectre and Norman.
Yeah.
And Norman is like, are you going to like step in? Like you said, you're going to pass judgment on someone. And the Spectre's like, not yet.
Yes.
Not yet. And Norman's like, aren't you like an angel? Like fucking do something. And he's like, not yet. So Billy does break, or Captain Marvel does break the Gulag open.
Yes.
This massive
Huge
battle
fight,
erupts.
And they're like, this isn't the type of fight that just stops. This is going to stop when the Earth is destroyed.
Pretty much. This is like the war, basically, which is also how Diana is framing it. She said, like, this has always been a war. We've just been too weak to treat it that way. Like, she's really gone off the deep end.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, basically now, Superman and Batman are talking about what they're going to have to be able to do here. And they, I love the not yet. That's so funny.
What, the Spectre?
Yeah.
I mean, it's essentially what he's doing. It's like, little more.
And then where does it? So
Superman goes to end this fight, and he ends up going toe to toe with Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, Superman has a vulnerability to magic. Captain Marvel is almost as strong as him anyway, or if not stronger. And their fight is pretty epic.
He just keeps saying Shazam and fucking like blasting him full of lightning.
And then just moving out of the way so that it hits Superman.
That's that ability you talked about. Yeah,
it's a really, really cool bit in this fight because he just keeps going like Shazam, 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 and just keeps hitting Superman.
So that Superman has to like actually like shut his mouth closed, like just to be able to stop him from doing it.
Yeah,
and he sort of tries to just talk to him about like you've been brainwashed. Like I know you're in there. Like you gotta fight whatever is happening to you.
And then they realize that the nuke is coming, the big metahuman nuke.
Yes.
And Superman finally kind of gets through to Captain Marvel. But he says, I'm not like you can make two choices. You can just stop fighting me. Let me go stop this thing, or keep fighting me and take us all out. But it's up to you now. And you see him sort of like Captain Marvel grab Superman and throw him down or whatever. And you're like, oh fuck, he's like but he then goes.
It says Shazam,
detonates the bomb like high above to save the day and dies.
And that's when we go to the Spectre and Sandman,
and it wipes out almost all of the metahumans.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like that explosion, he doesn't. Like, it's not a far enough away explosion to save everyone. A lot of people die.
Yeah, you see this landscape of just skeletons, which is pretty fucked up. But it's interesting because then we go back to Sandman and Spectre, and he's basically like, all right, see ya, Sandman. And he's like,
I think my work here's done. A lot of people seem dead.
Yeah,
no one left to punish. All right.
Yeah. And he's just like, you brought me all this way just to watch a bunch of people die. Like, he's just like how could that possibly be what he's like, you're supposed to pass judgment. You're supposed to like deal with this issue. He's like, you didn't do anything. He's like, do you really think that like this is the possible solution that we were looking for? And then Superman's now crazy angry
because as far as he knows, everyone there is dead.
Yeah. And the
Bruce,
Diana, the nuke did it.
And he goes basically after the United Nations, and he's going to basically rip the building into the ground.
Yeah, and basically Sandman's just like, he's like, he's not mad at the United Nations. He's mad at himself.
Yeah.
Like that's like because essentially Spectre's just like, oh, see, look how this is the bad guy now. Like,
yeah. So Norman finally steps out from the shadows and basically explains to Clark the thing that we've already talked about, which is like, you lost your human tethers and then you went away for 10 years. Like
this is a different world.
Yeah. Well, and also you aren't connected enough to it. You lost the thing that made you super. He's like, the thing that made you super was being human.
Yeah.
Growing up as Clark, having those parents, having relationships, working a job. He said, you've lost that you are not Superman.
He's just a guy with a bunch of power. Yeah.
And he sort of snaps him out of it. Superman realizes what he's done. And then the rest of the League basically shows up. Alan Scott managed to protect them.
What I liked was they were like, oh, survivors, like people were like, how many were even alive? And there was basically like just enough to continue the same issue that we already had.
Yeah. Well, yeah, fair enough.
It's like not enough to solve the problem and not enough to like it's just like, no, we're still in the same boat. He's like, there's still way too many people with abilities. Like, it's not like we fix this, but it's like we need to fix how we deal with this problem instead. And sort of like earn the trust and like teach, like basically by example, show how people are supposed to have abilities.
Yeah, and he says, United Nations, you guys are in control. We're here to help. You know, it sort of softens his stance from earlier in the thing.
I like that we get,
and then we get a bit of an epilogue.
Well, I like
kind of piece.
I like the piece of like health and medic Batman.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the white shirt on with the red bat symbol.
Yeah, so we see where they end up. Yeah, Batman is... he basically runs like a hospital out of Wayne Manor, essentially. Alan Scott joins the United Nations as like the ambassador of New Oa. So essentially like the Justice League ambassador.
Yeah. Clark and what's her name get together? Diana, yeah.
There's a couple of weird kisses they have through this, including one when she's
like an angry, like a motionless kiss.
When she's like, Clark, you're a pussy. I'm gonna kill all these people. Then she kisses him and then flies away. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's just like, what's you feeling what I'm feeling? No, she wasn't.
No.
Yeah, it was a weird kiss. But then we go. The pastor's back with his flock, and they've now it's like he's really got a group of people. Like,
yeah, there's a little bit of a metaphor that he doesn't really have a congregation because people have lost faith because the world is so shitty, and now that things are improving, people are coming back into his house. You know.
And then we get 1 year later. We go back to planet Krypton.
Yeah.
I fucking love this. Oh god, it's so good. I love the Superman with long hair.
Yep. Old man pony.
It's so funny. But no. We get like an actual like one of the Superman like.
Oh yeah, you like the waiters,
but he's got like long hair, but it's like all black and like it's.
Which is kind of how Superman looked at the time.
Yeah, very funny. And it's very much like old man at a restaurant kind of thing. Where it's like, greetings, citizen. And Diana's just like, be nice, Clark.
Well, yeah. Both Clark and Bruce don't love the idea of this restaurant.
And you find out that Diana was the one who made them go to this place.
Yeah. And so Clark is being polite. Bruce just goes like, all the steak well done. And they go, do you mean like the Solomon Grundy steak or whatever?
Steak well done. Which I'm just like, would Bruce have a well done steak?
He seems joyless enough to have a well done steak.
And he just gets a bunch of McDonald's sent to the Hall of Justice. And he puts ketchup on it.
No, don't make him Trump.
That's how I think of anybody who just gets a well done steak.
Well, fair enough.
They're just as bad as Trump in my opinion.
But essentially, the three of them meet there because Clark and Diana. They're about to announce something to Bruce, and he, of course,
figures it out beforehand.
He's
like, why else would you do this?
Well, he says, you're having a child, and Diana says, how could you possibly know that? And he goes, you're an immortal, ageless Amazon, but you've put on a few pounds.
Oh my god, that's really funny. Yeah, she totally has a little bit.
And they ask him to be the godfather of the child.
Yes.
because this is meant to be them learning their ultimate lesson, which is like, this child is going to be the most powerful being on the planet. It needs to have the human connection.
Yeah.
The thing that Clark was missing for a bit there.
You can teach it things that we could never teach it.
Yeah.
Like how to jump from like between buildings and like sit in the darkness and
how to buy 2 roses once a year and walk into an alley.
But I love the line at the end too. It's just like having like us 3 as parents. Like, what kind of child is this going to be?
Well, yeah, essentially, yeah.
Which I would love to see. That's the story we need to see. What is that child? That's a book I would read.
Yeah. I mean, very, very broad strokes. That's Kingdom Come. It's a future where the old, truth and justice ways are sort of forsaken. People want a more violent breed of hero. It sort of ruins their world. And then in an effort to try and bring things back, the old guard kind of lose their way as well. It's almost that like the ultimate lesson is the sort of violence begets violence kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a commentary on superhero comics in general, that they are all just fighting each other. It's not really about the people anymore. All that kind of stuff. It's a very iconic book in I think in no small part because of how amazing Alex Ross's artwork is.
Yeah.
It takes him a long time to do these because they're all like fucking oil paintings. So for him to do interiors for a book is a big deal instead of just doing covers or something like that.
It's very like late 70s, early 80s, like realism art. Like the best example is like...
He's got like a Norman Rockwell kind of thing going, right? Like, but it also lends so like a real like gravity to it, right? Like it feels like you're reading... like American folklore, like you're reading about like Paul Bunyan or something like that almost. I mean, and there's elements of that in there too, because, after all the fighting and stuff is done, Superman himself basically retills the entire Midwest after it's not irradiated anymore. He, on his own, basically refarms the entire Midwest.
Yeah.
And so it's him and this giant plow behind him. Like, there's an element of those sort of American folktales kind of in there.
Absolutely. It's that
Johnny Appleseed or Paul Bunyan or all those kind of like things.
It's very like like Americana meets like biblical writing. Like it's super interesting the way that they approached it. Like, I mean, even from like the front of the book looks like sort of like Last Supper type. Just the way, again, because it all looks like a painting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's super interesting.
Before we dive into the questions, obviously you enjoyed this book, but like if you had to name like 2 things you love about it, 2 things you're kind of about, what would those be?
I love that they really leaned into sort of a theme and genre. Like it felt like they were like they had something they were trying to do, and they really leaned into it. I really, really appreciate that. Obviously, the artwork from Alex Ross is amazing. It's not like pieces that I would ever want to put up as artwork, as much as it like really well illustrates the story that you're telling.
Right.
Like it definitely puts you in a sort of like time and place, which is fun. I really, really like that. I love the way that you really get a better sense of who these characters are based on the detail that you're getting with these illustrations. Like they look like real people. Mm-hmm. So to tell a story like this, it really helps with them looking so realistic. It'd be harder to sort of ground them in a story like this if you had something that was a little bit more abstract or like unrealistic looking. It'd be harder to tell that, because then it just seems like everything is fantastic. When you have a very sort of grounded, realistic art style with like a very crazy story, it's just it balances out kind of nicely. Issues I had with it for sure. I think that there's a decent idea of what the lesson is, but it's not like, it still is a little muddy at the end. Like I'm still just like, is the lesson that you just like things change and you need to change with it? Like
every once in a while you need to wipe the board clean.
Yeah. It's kind of just like, what was like,
kill everyone, start over.
Yeah. What should they have been doing with these new heroes? I guess like lead by example. there's a few things that they were trying to say there. I don't feel like the story with the Sandman and the Spectre was as clear as I wanted it to be. It's kind of like it was just a narrative device.
Yeah, sure.
And there's a ton of exposition in this, which isn't 100% necessary. Like, there's a points where I was just like skipping through dialogue because I'm just like, okay, but like what is actually happening here?
Right.
But that being said, like I feel like a lot of the like there was very good like A story, B story, C story sort of things. Like you had a clear idea of like who the three big main players were.
Right.
I didn't get a sense enough of what was going on with the there was no storytelling of what these new mutants or these new meta people.
Yeah.
There's nothing telling that story, which would have been nice, like to give them a voice.
Yeah. Even the big sort of main one, Magog, gets like a tiny amount of actual page time.
Yeah. So a lot of what my issue was like it feels very sort of like New America, where it's a lot of like the old guard trying to figure out what they're doing wrong without talking to the sort of new generation.
Yeah.
Where it's just like they're shouting and trying to say like having riots and like protesting, and it's like nobody's ever actually speaking to them. They're just trying to figure out what they want without actually talking to them.
Right.
So that's a huge issue. I mean, and it might just be a representation of what's actually still happening in North America. Is a lot of people speaking for a generation that wants to speak itself.
Yeah.
But so that's both works and doesn't work for this book, because I'm like, I wish I knew what that story was.
Yeah.
But I mean, but it's also a reflection on like new media and like these millennials versus baby boomers, Generation X, right? Like it is both telling that story and not telling the story that you want. So it's hard for me to complain about it because it's a good representation of that and a good analog for that story. But it's also, I'm like, God, I wish I would have known what that side really was, because you're just getting glimpses and they're basically just like you're just seeing them in news screens and like just panels of them, but there's never actually any conversation that's happening. So you just think that there's these like mindless people who are like who are just basically people with powers and no like conscious thought, and they need to be taught how to like move forward. But the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, well, that is a representation of the way that that like the new generation.
I do think there are like there's layers to it. I don't think it's super clear cut, but that's maybe you're right. Also the point.
Yeah. So no, it was great. It's a great book. It's beautiful art, great story, decent dialogue. Gets a little preachy, but it's good. Yeah.
How many capes?
I'd say 4.5.
4.5. Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing good. That's a couple of good reviews in a row. We're into it.
It's a book that I bought too. So
well, yeah, but I mean, you liked the Future's End one that I gave
I did,
you.
I did.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah,
fucking right.
Yeah.
So
I'm not somebody else. I do like comics.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
I'm just picky, and I have very little time.
Fair enough.
Anyways, so I guess we should start getting into the questions.
Yeah, we got lots of questions for this one.
Hell yeah, we did. Well, let's go over to Facebook.
Go to the face in the book. Go to the Facebook.
First question comes from the most interesting resident.
Roland Sebas?
That's right.
Oh, Roland.
Or someone may call him Sebastian Roland.
You better not blow up his spot.
Roland Sebas.
What does he ask?
He has two questions. First being, is there a fight between Shazam and Superman not best out of all the beautiful panels? Oh, is the fight between Shazam and Superman not the best out of all the beautiful panels by Alex Ross?
Oh, well, I mean, it's way up there. I think if I had to pick like favorite artwork, like favorite panels, I really like the look of New Oa. I love when you first see Alan Scott just sitting by himself in that armor with that sword, just sitting in this sort of floating green temple. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty stunning artwork. But I mean, yeah, that Shazam fight's pretty cool, especially where he keeps calling down the lightning is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you know, there's that shot where he first shows up and he knocks Superman down, and he's got like that sort of classic superhero pose, like the hands on the hips sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's way up there. It's amazing art. I think for me though, my favorite is that Alan Scott New Oa kind of shining emerald palace sort of look.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have like a favorite sort of moment or?
I think my favorite
visually?
panel is anything at Planet Krypton.
There's a lot of little Easter egg things. That's good. Planet Krypton is great fan service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. There's so much fun stuff to look at. Like it's.
I mean, it makes total sense too. In that world, there would be schlocky things about superheroes, right? Like,
and it's a thing we never really get that much in comics. Like we never get to see that side of it.
Yeah, certainly not often. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I'm a huge fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could see Fire, Beatrice DaCosta. She's in Planet Krypton. She's asking for Michael, the manager, so like Booster Gold. Like she's.
What I love too is when Clark's kind of like should like be concerned that like we're gonna be seen here, and Bruce is basically like he's like there could be a fucking battle in here and nobody would know. So, like,
I do love the contempt that Bruce has for that place. Yeah, the Planet Krypton stuff is really fun artwork too. Totally different in tone from that big battle, but
I think that's why it works so well too.
It is kind of fun. Yeah,
it reminds me of like an Eagles like album cover. Like it's.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking. Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah, it's very like a diner in California in the 70s kind of vibe too. Yeah, it's great.
Except instead of being Elvis themed, or action movie themed or something, because it's obviously based on Planet Hollywood.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, I love it so much. Yeah, I love when the waiter's just like, "I'm Robin," and it's just like, "Yeah, sure you are." Yeah. Oh my god, that's so good. Okay. So I think that answers that. Next question from Roland is,
sure.
Do you feel these are the most pure versions of the classical DC heroes before any of the other Crisis stories, New 52 or so on? In my opinion, they are the way I always see the DC heroes in their most perfect form and concepts. The writing holds up and the art is simply amazing.
I guess yes and no.
Visually, partially, I would say. Character-wise, no.
I will say, even though the point of this story is that some of them are out of character, that they have lost their way, I do think this is a really good Superman. He's just, again, he's just lost. He's not evil. He's not lobotomizing, you know what I mean? But he's lost his connection to people. He's sort of forgotten what it is to be a superhero. He comes back and tries to quick fix the solution, which is only going to make things worse. He's just making mistakes. He's not like evil or anything, right? That to me is like more than any, especially now in an era where we have so many evil or angry or corrupt Superman stories as Elseworlds. It's really refreshing to go back to one where it's just like, what if the ultimate thing with Superman is that he's more human than he'd like to admit and that he makes mistakes? I will say Superman in this story feels very honest. Like if those previous versions of the character ended up in this situation, this is what they would do. And I think in that regard, very, very honest.
I have a hard time witnessing Diana Wonder Woman being like this. This is a hard one for me.
Yeah, I won't go so far as to say it's out of character.
It would just, a lot would need to happen for her to get to this.
I don't know that this book gives us enough to justify how far she's willing to go, right? Like, I think it's in her, but I don't know that this book is just like, oh yeah, you were exiled. They stripped you of your princess title because you failed to make the world peaceful.
So
which
now
is
I'm
like,
going to destroy
was there
the
ever
world?
a time limit on that? Or like
they play pretty fast and loose with that.
They were monitoring, like, you know what I mean? Like,
but though, I mean, you look at the Wonder Woman movie we saw, and like the death of Steve Trevor basically turns on man like a fucking snap.
Yeah, but she also snaps back pretty quickly from that. And this Diana really doesn't.
No. I mean, this is also a much older Diana.
Yeah.
Been through a lot more.
Again, I won't say it's not in character at all.
But they don't, I don't think they earn it.
I think we needed to spend more time on some. And as for the other characters, we barely spent half a second on the Flash. Alan Scott's in there, but
they don't give you enough to really.
The Hawkman in there, you just sort of see him.
What they're presenting,
a lot
with
of
this,
characters are technically in this book, but aren't really in this book.
Yeah, they also present scenarios with those other heroes that I have an easier time believing that they would like get to where they are at.
Yep.
With her, they don't really put in a position. So like you believe that like if you basically running for your life all the time, that you could become disillusioned. You feel like what's happened, like they give you enough.
Or also in a world of continuing like gradual darkness that the Flash would just. I have the power to stop things all the time. I'm going to keep doing that. I'll never stop.
But what they do with Wonder Woman, it's just they didn't earn it. That's all I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I do think it's relatively it's held up very well.
Yeah.
As a story, in a way that like we've talked about, like Killing Joke does not, or there's even other like sort of stories that I still think are great, but even them I'm like, oh, that was like just from a time and place kind of thing.
Well, yeah, like another book I read today. All right, let's leave Facebook and go on to Twitter.
Twitter.
First question comes from our favorite religious representative, Chris Chan.
Gotta say that joke till it's funny, baby.
Yeah, well, it's always been funny for me, and that's who I'm trying to. I'm either trying to impress myself or Kyle Clark.
Yeah. How did that go?
Shut up. That's how it went. Chris asks, how much would you say Mark Waid contributed to writing wise as a percentage, or did he just script and Alice Ross plotted?
I mean, literally impossible for me to answer.
I mean, yeah,
because if a story has turned out well, I think you can guarantee that both of them contributed to each other's work. Like comics are collaborative, right? It's not if it's being done properly. I won't say this never happens, but if it's being done properly, it's not just writer writes it, hands it over, artist does it, hands it to the colorist or the inker, right?
Well, also with a book like this, which isn't like on a very strict deadline because of how long it takes for Alex Ross to do these books, I'm assuming he's not like developing these very elaborate paintings and then getting someone to write over it. And I don't think it's happening in reverse either.
I know that the story behind Watchmen, Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, is that Alan would have some ideas of how the visual storytelling would look, and Dave would say, like, what if this character did this instead? Like, they worked together, not just in that they were both making the same thing, but they were actually collaborating on each other's work. And Kingdom Come is a pretty solid book. I would have to say that, like, they're both doing that. Alex Ross must have been like, yeah, great. Saw your script, but like, what if we did this instead because I could show it this way, or it just flows a bit more nicely, or things like,
with the art, I could be able to tell a part of a story that doesn't need to be written.
Yeah.
That being said, there's a fucking ton of writing in this book. So
and like, I think people have the misconception too that like the artist has just done what they've been told, but like, I bet if you looked at Mark Waid's script, there's a bunch of shit in Kingdom Come that is not in there at all. Like, who is think of storytelling things like who is fighting whom in the big battle scene? Not necessarily who's speaking, but just look at the battle. Who's fighting whom? And I think there's a thing in this book where you see a couple of those younger generation fighting each other at one point, and then you see them fighting together. And that's part of the visual storytelling of that idea that like their fight doesn't matter, they're only fighting each other, like they're bored kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I think it's impossible to tell as a percentage, but I would be surprised to learn that they just stuck to quote unquote their lanes, right? I don't think that's how this works.
No, not at all. Does Alex Ross do a lot of writing in his books?
Well, I mean, Justice was like an Alex Ross book. But he must be involved in it, especially because of the way he works as a visual storyteller. I think it's too cumbersome for him to just do. It's also not fun. That's not how comics work. But I think it's too cumbersome for him to like someone to write a script and then him to be like, oh, I actually like can't do that, or I can't do that this fast, or you know what I mean? Yeah. He must be part of it.
Yeah, I would think so. All right, let's go to the next question from Kaiju Murphy. I go to destroy these buildings.
Oh my
Kaiju
God.
Murphy. It's the first swing of the bat.
That's good. Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Kaiju asks, in the spirit of Red Robin, what Ross redesigns would you most like to see introduced in the main DC universe? As much as I love the classic Alan Scott suit, he never looked cooler than he does in his Earth 22 armor.
Sure.
I mean, that's true. That looks fucking rad.
The Robin sort of solo costume in this book was basically what Red Robin wore for a long time later in comics, which was like the black hood kind of cowl and cape, red vest, and that almost a little bit kind of like a Dr. Midnight sort of look to it. So that got adapted out. Yeah, Alan Scott, he's not just wearing like his old multicolored shirt and cape. He's got this full armor on, which is reminiscent in a way of what Hal Jordan as Parallax was wearing. It's obviously a bit different, and I think Alan's got his lantern actually in his armor, so he is his own power source.
It's fucking cool.
But yeah, I mean, I agree, especially with that big broadsword. He's got this. I think he was going to be called Green Knight. They were going to give him a different name.
Oh wow,
because he had this sort of big broadsword. He's got this real medieval.
But they just didn't spend enough time on him. So,
but which designs of characters that you saw in there would you like to see just adopted or moved over to sort of main continuity or something like that?
Yeah. I really like the one that Superman costume is fucking cool.
You like with the black.
Yeah. It's that's really rad. I really enjoyed that. I mean, that Green Lantern was definitely the biggest departure. That Flash is pretty rad. I mean, it's not a version we haven't seen of the Flash, but I like the way that they depict just like the running and sort of the red blur.
Well, and they say in the book too that he spent so much time basically in and using the Speed Force that he now perceives like multiple planes of existence.
Yeah.
He's the one person that knows that Norman and the Spectre are watching. He actually at one point pulls Norman out of the sort of like higher plane where he and the Spectre are.
Yeah. Otherwise,
the Wonder Woman costume is pretty classic in this.
Yeah. I mean, there's some little touches.
I do kind of like the older Bruce Batsuit because it just looks like it's helping him a little bit more. Like it's a suit that also helps him even move kind of thing.
Yeah. I just love that little, the sort of, it feels realistic with the sort of like suit that he would build for himself to be able to.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, if I wanted to see anything, it would be maybe something like that Flash one. Just because I do love that idea that maybe he's just fully gone, like into the Speed Force, or he's like he never stops.
The Big Barda was cool.
Oh yeah, well, and they have a daughter that you see too. Mr. Miracle and Big Barda's daughter, Avia, basically wears a Big Barda style outfit, but with Mr. Miracle's colors, which is pretty neat.
I liked that.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. I agree though. That Alan Scott one is like the pièce de résistance.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Dave Rossi.
Dave Dashel, turn off the podcast.
Please, God. Who asks, there are dozens of cameos spanning the entirety of DC's library from Wonder Woman, Wonder Twins to Uncle Sam. There's even a few from outside, like Phil Sheldon, the reporter from Alex Ross's Marvel masterpiece, Marvels. Do you have a favorite? Also, TV miniseries, good idea or not?
Favorite cameo for me, I like seeing both Highfather and one of the Guardians of Oa show up. You know, the Green Lantern in this story is Alan. He has like the magic ring and that, but there is no member of the Corps. And he does call his orbiting satellite New Oa. But so there's a point where we see these like very, like powerful people being like, wow, Earth is fucked.
Yeah.
And among them are one of the Guardians of Oa and also Highfather, the ruler of New Genesis, which works because we do see Orion and Apocalypse. We see Mr. Miracle and Big Barda. Like the New Gods are implicated in this story, as are the Green Lanterns. So I like those cameos because it's just acknowledging the world it also just makes things a little bit more layered. Like, it would be very easy to just be like, it's Alan Scott, it's just magic, it's just the Star Heart. There is no core because you don't see them. But we know that in this world, they're out there somewhere, that they're aware of Earth, that they might even be connected to Alan because he does call his satellite New Oa. So I just like the idea that it's just more nuanced than that. It's not as simple as like, this is Golden Age Green Lantern. It's, it's some sort of combination. It's a little more complicated. What is Highfather's relationship with Orion? He raised Orion, the son of Darkseid, as his own son.
Yeah.
And now Orion has taken over for Darkseid on Apocalypse. We never explore it, but like there must be a more complicated, more nuanced relationship now in the realm of the New Gods between New Genesis and Apocalypse now, right? I'm just curious about that. So even seeing Highfather in there at least makes you think like, like how does that work? I kind of like that for those cameos.
Yeah, absolutely. TV miniseries. I think that it would be amazing if you made this into a TV miniseries, because I think you'd actually flush out all of these sort of other characters that maybe we didn't have time inside this book. That being said, it would bankrupt any television network that tried to do this. I
mean, we say that, and yet we're getting Crisis on Infinite Earths this year.
We are.
With A Kingdom Come Superman.
We are. Still, the amount of heroes in this compared to what that book is yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it can be done. Do I ever think it would be done on its own? I don't think so. But, we should never say never. Like, we're getting Crisis, right? Like, if we're doing that, nothing's off the table. And we're introducing the Kingdom Come world. There's nothing to say that maybe in a future crossover with different shows, they end up on that Earth, or there's an adaptation of that story or something. It's not impossible. Do I think it would be fun or a good idea? Totally. Would love to see it. Even if it was a separate thing, on DC Universe or something like that. Do I think it's going to happen? I think it's unlikely, but like I said, at this point, who the fuck knows? Right?
I also think even DCU doesn't want to use any of these big heroes, and that's all this is full of.
Well, there's that element to it. I think there's also, I think it would be cool, though.
Oh,
in the way
I'm not disputing that it would be cool.
I think we're more likely though to get an animated adaptation of this than a live action.
Which I'm up for that.
How they've been adapting.
That being said, I don't want to see this in the art style that they've been doing over the other ones.
No, although that raises an interesting point of, is there a style of animation that would suitably evoke Alex Ross's visuals? Because that would be the big sticky point. Is if you go into it and if it doesn't feel real enough, like Alex Ross, then you'd be like, well, why did you do this?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be a challenge for animation. It's also a challenge for live action.
Well, with live action, you just make it look real and then it's fine. You just have to do a HBO version of it. Yeah. But that being said, it would bankrupt HBO to do this.
Oh, this is interesting.
That's what I'm saying. It's a great idea. I don't see a world where this could ever happen.
I don't see it happening, but I mean,
you don't like saying no. You just
well, but 8 years ago when Arrow debuted, it was just a guy with a bow and arrow trying to be Batman.
Yeah.
And now we've got the fucking Anti-Monitor.
Yeah. For sure.
You know what I mean? Who knows what, I guess what I'm saying is, who knows what the landscape turns into. I certainly
in
think
10 years from now, if you see a Batman TV show and a Superman TV show in the same time, I think we could do it.
But my guess, though, is that we'll see this animated before we see it.
Totally.
Live action.
Yeah. All right. Next question from Senator Paul.
Very good.
James Paulson.
Yes.
just batting 1,000. James asks,
you're sure swinging a lot.
Don't you know it? Take those keys. What hero has the biggest change in their mannerisms or beliefs in this possible future? Wonder Woman, I would say.
Yeah. Although Superman, though still being very Superman, the idea that he even left is pretty shocking, I think. The setup in the book is that Magog kills the Joker after the Joker kills Lois.
Yeah.
And then Magog gets put on trial, and Superman basically testifies against him and says, like, we cannot kill. And everyone kind of goes like, shouldn't we though? Like, he killed the Joker. That's fine. And Superman is so disheartened basically by like losing essentially the endorsement of people that his way is the right way, that he just leaves. And he doesn't even leave to somewhere. He just leaves to his fortress, you know, and his parents die and he just has no one. He just is by himself. That feels like a big departure. Not, again, out of character necessarily, but like a big leap. If you accept that, then this book makes a ton of sense and it's great. But that would be a reasonable thing not to accept about Superman, is that he would even do this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's he's so utilitarian though, like it wouldn't surprise me. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like I get the idea. I get where they were coming from. With him losing his connections, but also him just being like, I mean, if that's what people want, I'm not going to deliver that. I'm not going to become that. So I guess I'll just leave.
Yeah,
like it again, not out of character, but it does feel weird that maybe he didn't fight more or harder
and we don't know
for the future he believes, because we basically revisit this kind of idea in the arc with the Elite years later with Manchester Black and stuff like that, where the world says, no, we want like vigilantes who kill, and Superman says, like, in that story, Superman fakes basically killing the Elite. He uses his powers to make the Elite think that they're being picked off and make the world think that Superman has turned. And then he says, I didn't really do that. I was just using my super speed and blah, 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 blah. He goes, see, is this the world you want? Like, which is, I mean, maybe less in character than Kingdom Come, like just deliberately scaring everybody. But I don't know. To me, it's Superman. Superman's a big departure. Wonder Woman's got the warrior in her. You can make the arguments for her maybe embracing that more than some of the other stuff, but yeah.
All right, next question comes from Organ Night. Is it my birthday? Getting up them goods.
Yeah, that's right. What night is it? It's Organ Night,
baby.
Here's my organ night.
Yeah. Wow. So you're doing stand up soon, eh?
I'm very good at it.
All right. Organ Knight asks, do you think this is better as a one-off, or is this universe worth exploring more, like in Convergence and the current Young Justice?
I'm happy to explore it more.
I love this. I love the idea that like the metagene is something that is basically the next step in the human evolution. So we're getting more and more and more and more people with abilities. I think that's super interesting.
Yeah, I think so there's a couple of different ways of doing this. Do we explore it more sort of pre this story to see what that world has turned into or had turned into? Or do we pick up after this story? So, you know, when Young Justice shows up on Earth 22, it's post this story. I think even Convergence is maybe smack in the middle of it or just after it or something like that.
Well, that means they're both really interesting, right? Because you're basically, you can either tell the story of like, what's it like without the big superheroes and a lot of people have abilities, or what do you do when the big heroes come back and now you have to learn how to be heroes from these other people?
I think just because of the preponderance of like dark dystopian thing, I'm more interested in the what happens after. I want to see them trying again and trying to be good again and trying to do it right.
Yeah.
I want to go back to, if we go back to Earth 22, I want to do it in that context. I think we have another question about it, so I won't spend too much time on it right now, but there is an arc in the Justice Society of America story called Thy Kingdom Come, where in the moment that Captain Marvel detonates that bomb, Kingdom Come Superman is transported through dimensions to Prime Earth.
Whoa.
And then joins the Justice Society on main Earth, fights with them for a bit. You learn a little bit about him, and then is teleported back to that instant.
Whoa.
So the whole Thy Kingdom Come arc happens as that bomb explodes,
Wow.
basically.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
which
really
is kind of
cool.
neat. So Kingdom Come Superman was in main continuity for a bit.
Kind of helps explain some things too with that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Fuck. Raging G, hammer and nails. Raging G, I like to make castles from pails.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
The same castles in the sky, you know.
Also, the hardcore thing was hammers and nails.
I'm running out of ideas here. I know it may seem like I have a wealth of references I can pull from that are badass because I'm such a tough guy.
Yeah,
But
well, I mean, the life you've led. Yeah.
well, you know, it's a hard knock life for us. I love that my tough guy
Yeah,
thing is
Annie.
You know, it's a hard knock life for us. Set of tricks and we get kicked. You know, hard life.
I do look a little bit like Daddy Warbucks.
You're definitely my sugar daddy, that's for sure.
Sugar Daddy War fucks.
Yeah,
Right?
oh yeah. I like this parody already.
Oh no, I don't think this is the parody we need. What does Raging G ask?
He asks, I love this question. What would you order at Planet Krypton?
Ooh. Oh, there's a few things that they mentioned too. I'm not going to remember what some of the menu items are.
I'll tell you what mine is, just so that I could make this joke the same way that Bruce did.
Okay.
Which is, can I get the Power Girl chicken sandwich?
Oh, right.
What's the cut?
What's the cut? Breast. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's a pretty good joke. It's low hanging fruit, but still pretty funny.
Did you just stumbled into that one too?
No, those deliberate.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was deliberate.
Yeah.
It's a Gimli reference.
Oh, okay. Do you want? God, you fucking Lord of the Rings piece of shit. Do you want the Starro casserole?
Oh yes, Starro the casserole instead of the concrete. Yeah, there's so many. I mean, who goes to a restaurant and orders casserole though?
Right?
You know,
It's like getting meatloaf.
Well, I sometimes do that.
Of course you do. You just like it because you like.
Yeah.
I would do anything
For
to eat this.
loaf.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what all of the other sort of menu things are. Starro the casserole was pretty funny to me. I do like that Power Girl joke. God, what would I get?
Let me see if we can go back to the. I can jump into this. Okay, what do we have here? Black Condor, straight up. What is it? Somebody's run off with the handcuff arrow again. Oh my god. Oh, an American way on white. Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think if we had to like make something up or whatever, I would want like.
Ooh, that's a fun thing to do.
I guess I would get like the Emil Hammond Cheeselton.
Jesus, this is where you live, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I would get. I'd get that. You could go to a restaurant, order a ham and cheese.
I'd like to take a flash shot. You have to do it quickly.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be fun.
You could get a Vandal salad.
Wow,
That's the one. That's the one. I'll get the Vandal salad with Caesar dressing.
Yeah.
It's been through time. Caesar in the past.
I'd like to take an Adam blackened.
Oh no. Yeah. Vandal salad. I'm sticking with that one. I'm not going to top that today.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Let's go to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram. Take some questions and answer them.
Cha-cha. First question comes from, and the only question on Instagram comes from XLH90.
Ixel.
XLH90.
Axel.
Axel.
You drongo.
Dingo ate my Axel.
I also like that we've firmly established that Axel is not Australian.
Yeah, I know, but for some reason...
Well, it was because of that show you told me.
Well, yeah, which is actually from New Zealand.
Sorry, Kiwis.
Sorry, I apologize. Axel.
Axel.
Yeah, I don't know.
What does Axel ask?
Does it matter anymore?
Wow.
What's your favorite moment from this story?
Oh, just in general.
Yeah, just your favorite moment.
Well, yeah, let's make it different from just favorite visual, because we already said that.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about it a lot. You really like the end with the planet Krypton stuff and the Trinity sort of sitting down for lunch there.
Any of that stuff is like really fun.
I really like that moment where Luthor is like Bruce double-crossed me.
But you can't.
That to me is very funny. Like that Luthor also wouldn't have thought of that. Like,
yeah,
they're both such double crossers. I there's something very funny to me about him being so confident that he's like, all right, I won't double cross. And then he's like, oh, I got double crossed.
I was being cute, but that's not fair.
I like that. I like the moment where they go and confront Magog. Like where the Justice League comes back, they go to confront Magog after that sort of devastating thing where Captain Atom detonates and destroys Kansas, and Magog is one of the only survivors. And he's just sort of kneeling there, and he's like, even he, a hero who, a quote unquote hero, who kills and doesn't necessarily feel remorse for that, just goes like, so many lives, this isn't what I wanted. This is just take me in, take me in, take me in. That's a really powerful moment to me. Because really this story it could have been, if it would be done poorly if they were like, he was just like, no, like I'm the leader of these new heroes, fight the old heroes.
Yeah.
That's kind of shitty. But if the idea is just that, like, maybe he's a product of, like he is like, this is not what I meant. Like killing the Joker is different from this. Like, that's pretty powerful. For
you
me.
should see Magog. Magog is huge. Magog is like 12 inches long.
Really?
Yeah.
It's got the horns.
Yeah.
It's got that energy lance.
Yeah.
Call it my
got that big
lance.
Magog energy.
Big Magog energy.
You know what actually I did really like, and I forgot about this, was the Americommando character.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like from The Boys, that guy.
Oh, yeah, he's draped in the flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like Homelander.
Yeah, it's kind of Homelander vibe. It's like a bastardized, like extreme version of like Captain America. Like,
yeah.
I think he's got a gun on his arm. Like he's crazy looking.
Americommando is kind of an interesting design. Yeah,
I really like that. That's fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
All right, let's leave Instagram and head on over to email.
Check the email.
Which question is just from Ben.
Hey Ben.
Oh, Ben.
I was about to make a Spider-Man joke, and then I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Oh.
Ben asks, does Magog even count as a villain in this story?
Right. So just going off what we just said, Magog is set up as like the reason Superman is retired. You expect him to become the face of this. And he for the story's purposes, he is the face of this new generation. But Magog is not
generation.
We're not like cutting to him being like, oh, we're gonna take those heroes. Like he's not like the villain.
No,
he's part of the problem.
Yeah,
but he's just a part of the problem.
Yeah.
Like it's not like him versus Superman. There's a later versions of Magog and Prime continuity and stuff like that are different.
Yeah.
But this one in Kingdom Come, no, he's not the villain of the story. In many ways, you could say that Wonder Woman almost gets there. Superman's not the villain, of course, but he's kind of the architect of some of his own misery in this story. I think the thing that's craziest about this story is that it doesn't, other than Luthor, in that he brainwashes Billy and then breaks open the gulag. Other than that, there's not necessarily like
a central villain.
No. Even including that, it's sort of just you're just seeing
a lot of gray,
the world evolve in this way where it's like he's doing something bad or evil, but he's doing it, as Luthor always does, because he thinks he's doing something right. And like, it's not even like he's doing that up against faultless heroes, because what Superman and the Justice League are doing is also not right. Yeah. I mean, this story basically sets up that they all have the potential to be both hero and villain, in varying degrees.
Totally. All right, let's leave email and go on to Reddit.
Where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
That's right. Super friendly place, sunshine and rainbows.
Oh, it's amazing.
First question comes from Juicy337, but Juicy is spelled JEWCY.
Oh, I know.
Oh, beautiful.
I was worried you would like that one.
I love it. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty juicy. I'm not full Jew. I'm just Jewish.
I do like that joke. It's a good joke.
Juicy asks, lots of good people look at this story as something perfect, but I've never seen it that way. What's something that disappoints you about it, or what do you wish got more time devoted to it in this story? I mean, I've said a lot about that, but I would love to hear what you think.
Yeah, I mean, well, this comes back to like what gets me going in a story? It's lore. And the one thing this book does not deliver is
I don't want data.
Any sort of real world building. We get a lot of exposition, like you've said. We're told why this world is.
Do you want to hear something embarrassing?
And then we follow like 5 characters.
Do you want to hear something really embarrassing? I just now figured out why Data's brother's named Lore.
Yeah, because they're
Data is information.
Yeah,
and Lore. Yeah,
and Lore is like story.
Yeah. Literally
just clicked now.
Just right now.
Welcome. One of us.
Yeah, one of us. Continue.
I'm waiting for you to be like, before.
No, I'm not.
Before.
Arby's roast beef.
For.
No, but I mean like Arby's is R, the letter R and B's. Roast beef.
Oh my god.
Did I just teach you that?
Yes.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's
holy shit.
Because we should just be a roast beef place, and then they called it
we
Arby's.
Need to go. But yeah, so for me, what this book does not deliver is the full world building thing. Now, narratively, is that as interesting as just making the story kind of linear like this one is? Probably not. But I would love to have just learned more about, like, there's things you you barely learn in this book. Like, for example, this Flash has a helmet like Jay Garrick, but this Flash is named Wallace West, but it's not Wally because this Flash's daughter's name is... or is it Wally? There's an Iris West daughter of this Flash and stuff like that. I don't think it's meant to be. I think this book is too early for it to have been Irie West, though. So this is... like, we just have different versions of characters in here, right? I want to learn more about Alan Scott. Is he affiliated with Oa? Does he just call it New Oa because it's catchy? Or, you know what I mean? The Hawkman in this is straight out of that sort of like Hawk God kind of era. He's not Carter Hall. He's not Katar Hall. He's literally like a bird avatar.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff in there I want to spend more time on, and we don't get to it. And it's not to say that the story is lacking for it necessarily, but that is definitely something I miss. I like that stuff, even if the story meanders a bit.
Yeah.
I like to learn more. That's why I kind of don't mind Future's End, right? That story meanders all over the place, but like, I know a lot about it now.
Yeah.
Right? I kind of wish there was a middle ground between how sort of like expressly Kingdom Come gets to its story points versus how meandering some other things are.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I mean, I've mostly talked about what my issues are. I think I would have loved time more devoted towards Wonder Woman to kind of set that up. And I've talked enough about what kind of disappoints me about it. I don't want to focus on too much on it because I do like this book.
Yes,
it is good.
Yeah, let's not talk it into dislike. Yeah.
Which is easy to do sometimes when you're just asking something to criticize something. It's easy to just try to pick it apart.
Yeah, bad question, Juicy.
No, it's not what I was saying.
Yeah, don't come back. No, please
come back. We'll give you a discount on Patreon. It's only $5 this month.
Oh, yeah. Discount. Wink.
I'm such a shyster. Next question and last question, because I'm being taken away by the social justice police, comes from Big Baby Barlow.
Oh,
it's a big baby.
Barlow.
Oh,
I got a question.
I made a duty. Can you change my diaper?
Why, instead of just being normal babies, why are we being saucy babies?
Because we're bad babies.
Oh, damn it.
Do you remember that terrible music video from like the late 90s, early 2000s on Much Music that was Bad Babysitter?
No.
There was a song called Bad Babysitter, and it was literally like, it's so fucked up looking back, but it was like the chorus was just like, I'm a bad babysitter, got my boyfriend in the shower. Oops, making $6 an hour. That's the look it up. It's a music video. I don't know if it was a Canadian artist or something, but yeah.
Yikes.
It was like popular for it was like pretty high in the chart for like a few weeks.
I don't remember that at all.
It's fucked up.
Weird.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, what does Barlow ask?
Yeah. Can you talk about the JSA arc, Thy Kingdom Come? So we finally get to address this. And I heard they went to the Kingdom Come world in the new Young Justice series. What's up with that? So we did talk a little bit about that. We can probably go into depth on both those things.
Yeah, so the bigger one is the JSA series thing. So like I said, Thy Kingdom Come is an arc that sees the Kingdom Come Superman transported to Prime Earth in the instant that Captain Marvel explodes that bomb in the Kingdom Come story. He ends up on Prime Earth, and in very broad strokes, they end up going up against one of the old gods of the third world before the new gods of the fourth world. And that god is named Gog. Just Gog.
It's not my
Gog.
Not your Gog.
And he's trapped in the earth, and this African tribe basically makes a staff that can harness some of his power, and eventually Gog turns this guy David Reed into basically a version of Magog from the Kingdom Come universe.
Yeah.
The story is really about whether or not this Kingdom Come Superman can be a decent Superman. Like, because where he comes from, that point in time that he comes from, things are pretty awful, and he's pretty convinced that everyone's dead, and he's not necessarily in a good place.
No.
He gets into some fights with the Prime Earth, like the New Earth Superman, and he is much stronger than the New Earth Superman. And they talk about it in Kingdom Come that even kryptonite doesn't really affect him like it used to, because he's just spent so long absorbing our sunlight that even kryptonite really doesn't do anything. Do it. And so they play that aspect out in that story a lot, but really it was about sort of commenting and sort of bringing elements of the Kingdom Come story into the main universe. So we have a Magog, we have Gog, this other sort of third world thing where Magog comes from, and we have this Superman teaming up with an Alan Scott. Like some of these people he should recognize. So there's, it's actually pretty interesting. That run of JSA is really great anyway. It's neat though, because the JSA is even like, is this Superman okay? Like there's a bit of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat. I think it's worth checking out. And then, at the end of that arc, he ends up going back to his Earth in that moment. And then we pick up in Kingdom Come, and he flies to the UN to tear it down, and then ultimately learns his lesson. Young Justice, the other part of this. The current arc of Young Justice, we're like 3 issues in. They're sort of tumbling through the multiverse. They were expelled from Gem World, and now they can't find their Earth. They keep going from universe to universe, and one of the ones they land on is Earth 22. They have sort of a brief skirmish with the Kingdom Come heroes, and then that world's Dr. Fate tries to send them home, but gets the math wrong and sends them to Earth 3.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. So you know what time it is.
Oh, fuck.
That means that we have to do this week's Dial Doc. But maybe we'll change it a little bit this week because
okay.
we'll do it. We'll create a character within the Kingdom Come universe. So this is a new evolved hero.
Oh, like one of this new generation kind of ones?
New generation, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so it could be a child of a few heroes together. It could be a brand new character.
I think I have one.
Yeah, you have one?
So just a reminder, Dial H for hero.
Yeah.
Is what we base this on. You get the magic H dial, you turn into a random hero or villain with previously unseen hero abilities or powers or things like that.
Is there a reference to, was it in Kingdom Come or was it the other book I read? There was a Dial H reference I read either last night or this morning. I can't remember.
Oh, I think that it's one of the menu items is like Dial H for hilarious or something. No. Dial H for hilarious. No, sorry. That's actually on a fake Twitter hashtag.
No, but there
is Action Comics run.
There is a Dial H for it is a menu item. You're totally right.
It's like Dial H for hamburger or something.
I think that's exactly what it might have been. But yes.
But yeah, that's what we base this on. I think I have one. Okay. I'm making a brand new character. He's one of this sort of violent generation of younger vigilantes, and his name is Camel Jack.
Oh,
Camel Jack basically has he's got like multiple sort of like they're part of his body, but he has these multiple sort of storage pouches on his back, and he's with cybernetics. Like it's supposed to just be an evolutionary mutation that he's just got extra. Like a camel, he's got extra water to keep him hydrated, or he's got extra fat reserves if he can't eat for a long time or stuff like that. But he's like rigged up tubes and that so he can also like shoot these various liquids like acids and stuff like that at people. So he's basically like a dude with a really big hunchback, like a lumpy hunchback and like tubes. That's Camel Jack.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. My character is going to be the child of Superman, Wonder Woman, and godson to Batman.
Okay, we're gonna take this like Trinity child, basically, yeah.
But much like the parents of celebrities, the celebrity and fame is actually going to go negatively.
Sure, of course.
His character is going to be a villain,
right?
And then the name is Klepto the Wonder Man.
Klepto the Wonder Man.
Yeah. Who's the world's greatest thief?
Right.
Uses the abilities trained from Batman to the invincibility of Superman, and obviously the agelessness and strength and everything that comes with being
fighting ability.
Yeah.
So Klepto the Wonder Man. I do think I think we're getting off pretty easy. If the most powerful being with all of the training on Earth is just a thief, well, because that could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah, I think that like it's enough like goodness was put in them that like they're not a terrible person.
Yeah, we're not getting genocide.
No, but they can never live up to these
right.
Amazing...
They're almost doing it like out of rebellion, kind of thing. Yeah, like you wanted me to be a hero, but I'm going to do this because it'll piss you off.
It's a lot like any of the like children of like celebrities we see. They're never like. They never do anything amazing. It's always just like, yeah, they did something.
Sure,
they just took this celebrity and money and just did whatever. But they never really make a huge impact.
Klepto the Wonder Man.
Yeah.
This is such a funny name.
Well, because I was like, I thought of Klepto first. And I was like, that just sounds like one of the like super kid, like.
Or crypto.
Yeah, but that's what So I was just like, okay, Klepto works as like a Superman
spin-off.
The
Wonder Man.
And then I was like, I don't know, Wonder and then Batman. I don't know. We could take the man there.
Very well done.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Just because I want to know what that life of that person is, so I had to create with myself. We would love to know the genius that could come from.
Oh,
I mean, not that it could be matched by us, but by our, amazing characters we come up with every week. But all you have to do is use the hashtag DialDoc and send us your idea. Maybe you can come up with a variation from this Kingdom Come universe. I would love to know.
Yeah.
Maybe mash up some superheroes, make some children of heroes. What would those look like?
Yeah.
That would be very cool. So all you have to do is reach out to us through our various social media platforms, such as our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast.
Our Twitter.
At Dr. DC.
Our Instagram.
Dr. DC Podcast.
Our email.
drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
Of course, you can chat to each other on our subreddit.
r/Dr_DC.
And of course, the doc phone is open. All you have to do is call us.
That's 208-917-3238.
So it doesn't go directly to us. You can leave us a voicemail.
Yes.
It's 208-917-DCEU. Also, you can send us a question for next week.
Well, not for next week.
Oh God, it's been a few weeks. Okay, never mind. You can send us questions, just general questions about DC stuff.
We've got just
we gotta start building up for fucking Docmas.
We're building up for
Jesus
Docmas.
Christ, we're already going into November. Oh my God.
But we've done a little bit of pre-recording, so we have a couple of episodes with some cool guests that are coming up in the next couple of weeks that you guys can enjoy, and of course. We have episodes coming on our Patreon as well. Episodes of the Double Dose. They come out on Fridays. It's only $5 a month, and you get a full extra episode every week.
Wow, yeah.
So that's coming as well. But yeah, for the next couple of weeks, just send general questions because I'm building up for Docmas. You know, it's 12 episodes that we record all at once while drinking with no specific theme. So anything that you've got on your brain, send it our way, and I'm building up our roster of questions for our Docmas recording.
Oh my God, I can't believe it's already coming.
It's very close.
Oh God, there's only a few episodes that we're even recording until then.
Yeah.
Yeesh. Okay. But of course, if you like what we do, make sure you give us a review, much like the one that we got today. You know what? Right. It's Halloween. I know that this is coming out with a few days shy of Halloween.
Yeah.
But maybe you could give us a 5-star review on some pumpkins.
Yeah, carve our 5-star review into a pumpkin.
Yeah, take a photo. It's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
But.
Or if you're really embracing the spirit of Halloween, carve our 5-star review into a body.
Yes, no, a pentagram. Each star is a pentagram.
Oh, yeah. Hold a seance.
Yeah.
And then when you get the demon spirit, just tell it to listen to our podcast.
Now tell it to give us a 5-star review.
Yeah, tell it to give us a 5-star review.
That can be your sort of like, if you're supernatural.
Tell it to haunt any of our listeners that haven't given us a 5-star review.
Hey, supernatural fans out there, you encounter a crossroads demon, and it offers you one wish. Give that wish that we have more success as a podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the most selfless gift you can give.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a gift that keeps on giving to me.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
Did you know that you have to be sick to use Make-A-Wish?
Did you find this out?
Well, I just asked them, I said, my wish is for our podcast to do better.
I mean...
And they said, like, what do you have? And how old are you? And I said, I'm 32 and I'm in perfect health. And they said, well, I think you've misunderstood what our mandate is.
I mean, but are they really sick? I mean,
if they listened, they would know how sick we were.
Yeah. It's a different what do you constitute sickness? Some may say that this could kill me. Just saying.
Some may say we'll turn it into content.
Some may say that mentally we are children. These are all
never grow up. Never surrender.
I was like, where is this going?
Never mind.
Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose.
Do we want to say what next week's pre-recorded episode?
Oh yeah, is? Why not?
So I mean,
this is the last episode of Docmas, isn't it? No, yeah. Or Doctober. Whatever. They're fucking docs.
You don't get out of Docmas that easy.
Oh, God.
Next week, the first of the episodes that we pre-recorded.
We're going to have a fun name because we have a cool episode. Anyways.
Our guest is Dr. Travis Langley.
Yeah.
PhD in psychology.
So this is the last
episode.
Batman
in psychology, and more recently, the Joker psychology.
And my new co-host.
Fuck you! How dare you? Just because he's a real doctor,
and also knows everything about DC.
Shut up!
And has friends like Grant Morrison.
Shut up! We're talking about psychology.
But also,
next week
we get
Dr.
to hear
Travis Langley.
The stories that Dr. Travis Langley has about, his friend Jeff Johns and Grant Morrison.
Really, really cool guest. We had a really awesome chat. It was that was a really fun episode to do, and you can also hear the exact point in the episode where we recorded things on our own because we go from being very well behaved to filthy instantly.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that happened.
So that's next. That's next week.
We were a bit of very good boys in the beginning.
We were. There's a palpable shift in our personalities.
Yeah, when like a real professional comes into the room,
we'd be like, "Oh man, let's not blow this." But yeah, listen next week. That's what's coming up.
Absolutely. And if you want some extra content, of course, subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, patreon.com/DrDC.
All right, that's it for this week. We will talk to you on Friday. Ciao, ciao.
Adios.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.